if somebody is going to take performance-enhancing drugs, steroids, HRT, TRT, you definitely need to monitor complete blood cell counts, and that's what monitors hemoglobin, hematocrit, red blood cell count, white blood cell count. And all
with the HRT and stuff, there's people that are mixing in Cialis. The blood would thicken because of the possibility of being on HRT or something. This is question and answer time. So we lost another great bodybuilder, 50 years old, passed away. So I imagine a lot, like through the years, everybody's freaking out. Let's do this. Question and answer time. Is everybody taking care of their health to the best of their ability? And what that means is not just exercising and training, but actually checking on the inside, making sure everything is running smoothly. And then taking the recommendations and actually doing something with it. So that's one of the big issues that I see. A lot of people, they get the information on how to fix their health, and they still put it off. They still don't do the things that are necessary for them to live that kind of lifestyle. So if you guys didn't know, we lost a great bodybuilder, young, 50-year-old, too young. And I don't know all the scenario from it, except from what I'm told online. But again, like everybody's going to say, it is because of what they were doing, which is sad. So what do we got here? I want to go questions and answers about HRT today, doing blood work, and what kind of questions you have about peptides, especially. But if you are on HRT, what kind of questions do you guys have about HRT? Okay, any kind of TRT, HRT, anything like that. If you guys got questions, make sure to ask. I'm bringing on an expert in this, somebody that you guys can really talk to and get into depth with, and get your questions answered today.
Do you ever use flax seeds? I heard they lower testosterone. How do you feel about that?
I love flaxseed oil and flaxseed. I have a scoop in my shake in the morning, and I'll do a powder later in the day in a little mix of my protein with water, kind of like a cereal or a soup. I love flaxseed oils. Flaxseed. It brings up my testosterone. Yeah. And it's funny because he says, yeah, it raises mine.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, and I've noticed that through years. Keep those questions coming, because I've been in this game a while, but I am in no way someone that I would say is close to being an expert. But I do have friends that are experts and really know their stuff. So I'm going to bring in my boy Johnny to talk to you guys today. And this is a special kind of a day, because this is the start of something big. But let's bring John on to answer any of these kind of questions. All right.
hey, what's up, Mike?
Superstar. Hello, my friend.
How you doing, man? Doing good. Glad to be here with you.
I love having you here today. Thank you so much for hanging out and doing this with me today.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you bringing me on here,
So
talk about some of these different things.
I texted you, I think it was last night or this morning, and I said, man, we lost another one in the health and fitness world. Again, young, 49, 50 years old. Always, I mean, no matter what age, it's heart-wrenching, but that's such a young age, much younger than me. And, the speculation is because he's a bodybuilder, it's the one aspect. And so I know that a lot of people out there that people I work with, clients-wise, they start freaking out, hey, am I doing everything right? And I always go back to, well, the first step is making sure you're healthy under the hood.
Right.
And that's getting your blood work done. Can you go into what your thought is about someone like this passing away?
Sure. So it's obviously a tragedy to lose anybody, especially 50 years old, Gustavo Badell. This guy was, has had a pretty good career through his lifetime, right? And usually, if you hit 50, you might be pretty good to go as a bodybuilder if you've lasted that long and you know everything's healthy underneath the hood and you've been checking and monitoring these things. But if you're not, right, and different things could happen, and there's a lot of speculation about what happened with him as far as stroke or whatever it may be. This could happen possibly if hemoglobin, hematocrit, red blood cell count was very high and the blood was thick and he didn't donate or anything like that. It could turn to sludge. It could get move slowly through the body, and that can cause DVTs, blood clots, and strokes.
Can you just, for these layman people, jump back a little bit? So the blood would thicken because of the possibility of being on HRT or something.
Yeah.
You should take out blood, donate blood, and keep it I guess you would say, documented and find out what you're at on a frequent basis. And so that could have been something that led to this.
It could have been, and I always call it a maintenance thing. If you're on any sort of TRT, HRT dose, when you start presenting androgens inside the body, these things could and might thicken the hemoglobin, hematocrit, and red blood cell count may be going up. And that's why I said that's where the problems start to happen. And that's where, the whole thing about testosterone and causing heart attacks and strokes and all these things, it comes from that and not monitored properly. If you're getting monitored properly, somebody should be checking this from time to time. They should be telling you some of the different things that you might be looking for as red flags. Because usually if somebody's going to have a stroke, heart attack, there's usually some sort of flag that happens beforehand, right? And it's a trigger. And at that point, if you can recognize it, you can get help faster. But a lot of people just don't. They, it's just bothering me, whatever it is. I've lost a lot of friends like that, So it's something that if somebody is going to take performance-enhancing drugs, steroids, HRT, TRT, you definitely need to monitor complete blood cell counts, and that's what monitors hemoglobin, hematocrit, red blood cell count, white blood cell count, and all these different things.
Can I ask you this then, before you keep going?
Sure.
The frequency, what is a recommendation from you, and maybe it's even less time in between, like if the person is 35 compared to 55,
yep.
What is the time that they should make sure that they donate blood or pull blood if they are on HRT? And then how often, besides that, should they check their blood work? Is it every year? Is it every 6 months? What is your recommendation?
So,
if it's an age thing, or just everybody's somewhat the same?
It really doesn't come down to an age thing, because I've seen younger people or older people be more sensitive to to thickening and red blood cell count going high. And red blood cell count can go high from a number of different things like sleep apnea and all these different things too as well. So that's just one aspect. But hemoglobin, hematocrit, and red blood cell count, those that trifecta there, you want to make sure you keep in check. Now, as far as age, like I said, it doesn't really matter. Now, what really does matter is basically, how many androgens are you taking? So if somebody is, doing these things and cycles and all these different things, they might be presenting a lot of more androgens in their system. So they might have to donate blood sooner than somebody else. Now, if somebody's on a TRT, HRT dose, we recommend every 6 months at least to do a donation. And we call that a maintenance, an HRT maintenance. You want a maintenance, you got to pull that plasma out of the blood, because it's not just thinning the blood. A lot of people think, oh, well, I have thick blood, I'm going to take something to thin it out, right? Vasodilate. Right. And at that point, when they do that, it'll thin the blood out for a small period of time, but you need to get the plasma out, and that's the whole point of doing the donation. And usually a donation, they do 500 milliliters.
Everybody, I got to stop him right now, because you see, I said he was intelligent and ahead of the game, and the man, geez Louise, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So, that's the thing I would say. I would say, if you're doing this, you should be monitored correctly. If you're going to somewhere and you're getting testosterone hormone replacement therapy and it's not from Titan, make sure they're monitoring you. It's doing you a disservice if they're not. So you want to definitely do blood testing and full blood test panels at least every 6 months. Some people want to do them every 3 months, right? And if there's a problem or issue, then you might want to retest sooner than that. So if you do your full panel 6 months and there's an issue like hemoglobin, hematocrit, red blood cell count are high, if you're with us at Titan and it's on that level, we will slow down your regimen and make you get the donations before we fulfill your regimen again, because we don't want you having any negative side effects like that. And that could be a terminal one. It's really important just to make sure you're getting monitored, because it's your health. You can go somewhere and tell somebody something and they can give you everything you want, but is that really going to be healthy for you? And are you getting monitored properly throughout this process? Because it's all about longevity, right? And Mike is a great example of this. right? I mean, he's killing it at his age. I don't know anybody. 20-year-olds can't even keep up to this guy. So, there's a lot to learn from him too, as well, in things that he's been doing in his lifestyle. So I take that in and soak that up too as well. I have some knowledge, but there's a hell of a lot more knowledge with him because he's been around a lot longer than me. So, I appreciate that.
Absolute. And again, you and I, we've had talks where we've talked about lifestyle for people, and not just surviving, but obviously the enhancement and living your full potential. And that's where I think the HRT and TRT for a lot of people at not just my age, at a lot of different ages, really help people. And it goes back to what you said first. You don't do anything until the blood test is done, then you move from there. Right. But a lot of people are jumping into a couple different things. I know that, I guess, with the HRT and stuff, there's people that are mixing in Cialis quite a bit. Now, I'm just curious on this because I think of Cialis for something else.
Of course.
They're mixing this in, and from the little stuff I understand of this, it's to help with blood pressure. Am I correct on this?
Yeah. So, originally, sildenafil, which is Viagra, tadalafil, which is Cialis, these drugs were made for blood pressure. Okay. And when they started doing the testing on the patients,
really? Blood pressure?
No, these were blood pressure medications. Originally, that's what they were going to be marketed for and brought to research for.
Okay.
But when this research was coming through, they started seeing, the side effect is vasodilation and blood to the extremities, and this is giving the patients erections. There's not an erection medication out there that's working for males at that point in time. That's why Viagra hit it off so well. And Cialis can do a couple different things too. It can lower BPH. So, when we talk about that, and blood pressure, and then the erection portion. But, the reason why these guys are taking these things along with testosterone replacement therapy is for the pump. They want the vasodilation. It does give them a better pump. Some guys, they overdo it on how much they're taking, and some people get negative side effects. Like sildenafil causes headaches in some percentage of men. So at that point they can't take it, or they get real bad headache, or they get real congested. You might want to lower your dose because at that point a smaller dose might work, and you don't need the big 200 milligrams or 100 milligrams these guys are taking every time. It's just. But I do think
I'm be honest. I'm too scared to take that before going to the gym for a pump. My workout's turning into something else. It'd be awkward.
I wouldn't do it. Listen, when you talk about vasodilators, some really good ones. We're talking about L-citrulline, right, and arginine. And mixing those two together. In an injectable version we have, that's where you can do spot inject it. I know in your stuff you can do it too, but those are really good vasodilators. I think that people really need to focus in on if they're worried about a pump. And I think it's more natural to the body, the amino acids and stuff like as far as that goes, than taking Cialis on daily. You can. They legitimately make the protocol for everyday use at 5 milligrams for Cialis for a patient, for whether it's BPH or the erection issue or whatever they want to do for daily maintenance. So there's no harm to it. I don't think, but I think there's better ways you can do it. But I think that people want to go the extreme out some cases, and they want to take that. Which, like you said, I don't really want to go to the gym, get pumped, and have an erection, and guys are looking like, "Hey, are you looking at me?"
I would say I would freak them out. Yeah, I'm looking at you, buddy. When you turn me on, holy cow! Yeah, I definitely don't want Mona to hear about this protocol, but I don't want to steer the kids away from these 30-year-olds going in there. They love the pumps. Do as you will, but it's an interesting thing that it lowers the blood pressure, which I know a lot of guys have issues with, especially in the health and fitness world, that are size guys, big boys. Mm-hmm. They got blood pressure issues, and so I worry about that kind of stuff.
Of course,
and I worry about them doing HRT with high blood pressure.
Yep.
What is the protocol, if you don't mind me asking, at Titan Medical on what you do about somebody that maybe has high blood pressure?
Sure. So we make sure they get it controlled. We won't put a patient in danger, right? Even if they want it, they it's my body. I don't care. We're not going to do it. So we're going to make sure, if you need to go to a primary care or a specialist, then you're going to do that first, right, before you come through us, because we're going to make sure you're good and healthy as far as getting the blood pressure. Because if it's uncontrolled, man, it's like a ticking time bomb, right? And over time, that's going to damage the kidneys and all these other things that will come along with it. So we want to make sure that it's taken care of. Whether they go to primary care, they take care of it like that. specialist, or they're already on medications that are taking care of it already when they come to us. And there's a lot of patients on 10 milligrams of lisinopril, and that's okay, right? But when we start getting into heavier doses and heavier medications, we need to make sure that you're going to be healthy to continue with a regimen or go on a regimen. So, if somebody's had open heart surgery and stuff like that, they might not fall into a candidate, right? Because we want to check with their specialist, and their specialist on the same page with us and working with us for their health, making sure, hey, listen, this is going to be healthy for him. I'm monitoring this side of his heart. You guys are monitoring that side of it, and we're getting a complete picture and going forward with them.